We're going to practice a yin sequence today. Sorry, the sun's on my face. I can't even open my eyes. About opening the hips. So we'll probably do a few of these over the months because your hips can be a really tight, congested place. So today we'll do a sequence of yin, holding each posture several minutes, meant to relax your body, to sink into the hips and not force yourself into any of the poses. So when you come into the poses, the first thing you can do is move yourself around, find that comfortable place, but then settle in with stillness and feel the feelings that come up. So if there is a little bit of pain that arises, is it pain that feels really acute? Then you want to change your posture. And if it is pain that is more uncomfortable, then maybe stick with it and see if over a few minutes that the sensation changes. So, letting car sirens be our music today, we'll go ahead and start in child's pose. Separating your knees to the edges of your mat and your feet are touching. Take the first couple moments here to move around, maybe finding a comfortable distance for your legs and a comfortable place to rest your head and your arms. Let your body come to stillness and scan the body. Scan the body for tension. Your feet start to travel up, and anywhere that you meet tension, take a deep breath in. And on your exhales, send relaxing energy there. Ask yourself, am I holding here? Where can I relax? Where can I settle in? Where can I meet myself? Not forcing yourself into any specific shape, but relaxing into the shape that you're in. Let yourself be soft, and over the time that we spend here, let yourself be softer. Nowhere to go but here. Enjoy the shape that you're in and take some nice breaths. If the mind still feels really active, focus on your exhales, exhaling a little bit longer than your inhales. We want the transitions today to be really smooth and delicate and connected. So when coming in and out of the poses, I'll say, take the next 5 to 7 breaths to come out of the pose, and you can decide whether you'd like to come out of the pose a little more quickly or enjoy those extra breaths there. So over the next 5 to 7 breaths, make your way to tabletop, taking your time to get there, staying here longer if you wish, or coming out of the pose a little bit quicker. When you, at your own speed, at your own pace, arriving tabletop, take a few organic movements to move yourself around. Cat and cow, or circles, or opening your mouth. If you're doing anything asymmetrical, make sure to do both sides. Gently bring your right foot outside your right hand and come into seal pose, lunging. So in this pose, relax the back leg, untuck the back toes if they were tucked under. And you can stay upright on your hands, shoulders over your wrists, whole palm receiving all of the weight, or you can start to lower down, resting the elbows onto something, onto a prop or onto your mat. But this can be a pose where we activate. So try to let yourself be soft here. And what does that mean to be soft? If it feels good, you can let your knee and your toe of the right leg start to roll out to the side. You can let your head hang. You can let yourself kind of slump into the pose. Let time and our breath open up into the poses. So not forcing yourself to go into your deepest expression of the pose, but let your body soften into it. At first taking a pose that's comfortable for you, and then over the time that we spend here, let your body and mind soften into the pose. So maybe you start up a little higher, and after a minute or so, you can sink a little bit deeper. Take your body scan and do that same scanning breath. When you meet tension in your body, pause there with your mind's eye. Take a deep inhale, full exhale, relaxing. Over the next 5 to 7 breaths, we'll come out of the pose. You can start to lift your head if it was lowered down, bit by bit coming out of the pose, maybe walking your hands in if you were down to lift up. And bringing yourself back to tabletop once you've decided to exit the pose. When we come into tabletop, lift your right leg. Give it a couple circles here in both directions. And we'll come into Gomukhasana, cow-facing pose. Bring your left foot over to the right and your right knee behind your left knee and start to sit back. This is another pose where you might want blocks or support under your hips, for we'll be here a couple minutes. So you can decide here whether to prop up the hips onto a block or a blanket to even out. We want the left hip relaxed, feet relaxed. And in this pose, it's really up to you. So in yin, we want to bring this relaxing, restoring energy to the pose with minimal effort. So you can let your arms be heavy, or you can take the shoulder stretch here. Either right hand onto the left elbow or fingers interlaced behind you. But in either way, soften, not forcing your body, but adding gentle pressure if you are changing the pose in any way. Breathe deeply and slowly without force or strain. Meeting yourself where you are. Take the next 5 to 7 breaths to exit the pose. Starting off with your arms, letting your arms relax if you have anything going. Left elbow bent or arms binded. You can release and give yourself arm circles before releasing the pose entirely. Meeting back in our tabletop position, moving yourself around however you need to in between the poses. Step your left foot outside the left hand. Come forward of the back kneecap. So you want to be stretching, lengthening the psoas of the right side and opening up the left hip and groin. So in this pose, enter it as you see fit, staying upright onto your hands, but relaxing, not pushing away, but letting yourself soften here. Or you can prop yourself up onto props or lower yourself all the way. If you're in the pose with one elbow up, lift both elbows so that you're maintaining equilibrium in the pose. You already have asymmetry in the hips, so treat the upper body equally. Sink in, enter the pose as you feel fit, and start to breathe into the pose, making more space. Listen for your breath, listen for your smooth inhales and effortless exhales. Taking that body scan once again on this side, noticing where you're feeling tension, what kind of tension is it, where can you soften here? Can you let your head drop? Can you close your eyes? Can you soften around the pelvis? Ask yourself these questions without judgment of the answers. If you can't soften, if you need a bit more support, then use blankets, use pillows to help support whatever part of your body is calling for it. Take the next 5 to 7 breaths to come out of the pose. Uncurling yourself out, maybe lifting your head, lifting onto your palms, finding yourself back into tabletop with the left leg lifted, bend the knee, take a couple circles here. Going in both directions. Coming into Gomukhasana, right foot over to the left edge of your mat, left knee comes behind the right knee, and start to sit yourself back, widening the feet so that there's space for your hips to sit back. Again, supporting the hips as you need. Moving a little bit of the weight onto the right hip. And finding a comfortable place for yourself to sit. Does it feel better to have your hands on the mat? Or if you did so on the other side, come into the bind. You can bring your right arm to a bend and left hand coming behind the back to interlace the fingers. And if you want to come into this and you can't quite reach, then you can use a strap or hold on to your shirt. But taking roughly the same shape as you did on the other side while accepting any restrictions that you might be feeling. Enjoy the posture and the silence in your breath. Take the next 5 to 7 breaths to release yourself from the pose. Releasing your arms first if you have anything going on there. Give yourself shoulder rolls. Making your way back to tabletop. Unwinding your legs. Moving your hips around. And we're going to come into frog pose. So you can either stay forward onto your mat or turn to the long edge. It's going to depend on how the floor feels for your knees. So we're going to open deeply the hips. And in this pose, we want the knees at 90-degree angles. So the knees are in line with the hips and also in line with the ankles. The inner arches of your feet are on the mat. And from here, take this pose gently, lowering onto your elbows maybe, or propping up your elbows onto some sort of prop to support. And for the first couple of breaths, find that place where you are feeling the deepest sensation, no ripping or tearing, but deep inner thigh stretch. More or less keeping your hips in line with the knees, but with a little bit of rotation either forward or back. And once you find it, settle in. We'll only be here for about 90 seconds, so allow yourself to feel this restriction. Feel tightness in the hips as we let ourselves try and relax. If you feel a lot of tension in your upper body, you can open your palms facing up, or you can open your mouth and exhale out your mouth, but try not to move too much the hips in the posture. Take the next 5 breaths to come out of the pose. You can walk yourself onto your hands. So you can use your hands to help lift the hips. So use the weight in your hands, lean forward, bring your feet a little closer together, tuck your toes under, and lift your knees. Bring them to parallel and come into embryo pose. So bring your feet and knees together and your hands back by your side. Resting your forehead. Let yourself slump over here. Slowly lift yourself upright and move your legs over to one side. And we'll come on into Baddha Konasana. Feet together, knees apart, holding on to the pinky toe side of your foot. Elongating your spine. Feeling length between your ears and your shoulders as we reach the spine up and the feet press into the hands. Gently fold forward if you wish to go deeper. In this pose, we want to invite in softness again. So if it feels better to release your feet and rest your arms either on your mat or on blocks, or to stack your fists, then rest your head or use something underneath your head so that you aren't hanging out with your head not touching anything, you can. Listen for your breath, listen to your body in the pose. Were you experiencing tightness or sensation? Take the next 5 breaths to come out of the pose. Turning your hands down onto the mat. If you're folded forward deeply, gently lifting yourself up, but move with your breath, nice and slow, maybe keeping your eyes closed. Bring your hands behind the back. And separate your feet to the edges of your mat and rock your legs from side to side. You can push into one side to lift the opposite hip. When the knees come to the left, lift the right hip. Do a little rocking here. Extend your legs and come onto your back. Bring your feet in for Supta Baddha Konasana, supporting outside the legs if you wish. Hands can be over heart and belly, or you can also butterfly the hands behind the head, elbows relaxed out to the sides. scanning your body one final time, looking for tension. Relaxing on your exhales. Feeling space in your throat, in your armpits, in your inner thighs. Let this pose be really restful, restorative. Embrace the stillness and quiet that you feel over the next 5 to 7 breaths. Come to Zegan. Open your legs, maybe using your hands to help you, rolling to one side, opening yourself up to Zegan. Maybe keep your eyes closed and find a comfortable posture to sit with your spine long and breathing into these nice open hips.